Good morning. Welcome to Gruber Power Hour. I'm Janie.
I'm Nicole.
And we have Mark Schaffner joining us this morning. Before we go too far, going along talking with you, Mark, I wanted to just highlight that we are closing out our series of talking to internally our wonderful operations teams and the people within it and meeting them and who's all making things happen around here. We are going to end the series on a great note today, bringing in, Nicole and I are part of the leadership team.
Right.
Nicole's a wonderful leader.
Thank you, Janie. So is Janie. She's a great teacher.
There we go. We're all part of it. But we're bringing in our senior leadership, who's helping to steer the group, orchestrating all of us, keeping things going, for us. And I'm excited to hear the feedback that we're going to get from you guys, about the company
this is gonna be a lot
more
of
in
fun.
depth. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to today. Anyways, so to get this started, and in the next several weeks, we've got an exciting launching of coming up, talking to our sales team.
Correct.
And the front end of things. We've talked internally to the operations side of people and meeting them. And so we're going to have some fun new topics, right, Nicole?
Right. With the account managers and what their specialties are, a little more educational. For those of you that don't know a lot about UPSs, or maybe you're interested or, need some background on that.
Right.
And just kind of what they do and what their specialties are and how they can help you individually outside of what we can help with.
Right. So look forward to watching those
Yes,
as well.
those will be fun.
Yeah.
And we also have our big anniversary party
Oh, yes.
that we're going to be doing in a few weeks as well.
And we'll be highlighting that and talking more about it in the coming weeks as things are coming together, for
That
sure.
will be exciting.
Yep. Oh, look at this. We've already got
Hey,
people chiming in.
Good morning.
You want to go with
Hey,
it?
Highlander's back. Hi, we missed you last week.
That's right.
Go ahead, Janie.
Instagram. Hi, Tiz Mir Patel. Hello. Well, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Instagram. Dines H. Bailu. Good night from India. Well, good night.
Good night. Good evening. It's not good night if you're not going to bed. It's good evening.
There you go.
We'll be with you for another hour and then you can good night.
Right. Stay with us. Stay awake. Instagram. J Russo 2134. My UPS exploded.
Sounds like
Call
you
our
need to
tech
call.
support line immediately. 602-863-2655, extension 256.
They will get you taken care of.
Right.
And with an account manager that can get you a new one
Absolutely.
right away.
That's right. And then you said Highlander.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Hi, gang. I'm here to learn the Highlander.
And Highlander gets to see that I'm not a robot today.
Uh-oh.
Oh, right.
Where's blew your cover?
Exactly. So anyway, so let's go right into this. Mark, so I wanted to introduce you and go a little bit further into your background being with us and your role and what you do around here. So how many years have you been with Gruber Power Service?
Well,
the Gruber
I've been here
companies?
as an employee of the Gruber companies for a little over 10 years, but
Yes.
my time with Gruber actually started a little over 25 years ago. I was starting a business on my own.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was newborn,
Uh-huh.
and I was trying out one of these new things called FLSA. That was new back then.
Okay.
I thought, well, I'll take a few weeks off, and I've got a consulting business that I was thinking about starting, and this is a great time to look.
Right.
In order to start a consulting business, you need office furniture. And so I was
Okay.
looking for some office furniture. Sure enough, I go driving by the Deer Valley Airport on my way to get some stuff for breakfast, and I see that there's a yard sale posted. It says office furniture.
Okay,
Oh,
I
boy.
can see where this is going.
Yes.
I go make a turn. I come in, and there's this building called Gruber Industries. Now, what they did not know at the time, and I knew,
Right.
2 years prior, Gruber Industries had been a lead for the company that I was working for, and they had purchased the
Oh.
accounting software that I was going to help support. So I went in and
you knew this already.
I knew this already.
Okay.
I talked to a gentleman named Steve. He was the chief financial officer at the time. And I bought my office chair and paid the money. But he was sitting at a desk working on his computer. And I said, is that Fox Pro you're working on? He's like, yes, it is. What do you know about this? Well, I work in an accounting system called SPT. You do. See, I knew who he was working with, and I knew that they had bad service.
And
so I
we were
snatched
already
him.
using SBT at
We'd
the
been using it for about 2
Okay.
years. He was having troubles with his service provider, his local
Okay.
dealer. I knew he would because I knew that dealer.
Okay.
And that started a great relationship. So I
Okay.
did that with him for about 15 years. And then when he retired, I actually came on, interviewed, and came on as chief financial officer.
That's fantastic. It's so funny, like learning the different ways that people have been introduced to the company
Right.
and how they've come aboard.
Timing is everything.
Right? Nicole
life.
has her own unique way as well.
Right.
Yes. And also the fact that Pete was having a garage sale.
It's just classic.
It fits Pete so well. I'm
Right.
just surprised he was the one having it. That's all.
Well, and the reason she says that is because Pete is wholeheartedly a believer in repurposing and reselling, buying.
Right.
It's all about recycle and repurpose and, about everything that he does and use. And, it's better for the environment. It's
It
better
is.
for us.
Well, and
And
even,
there's great
pocketbook.
stories. There's great
and
stories.
I mean, even Pete has been a victim of inflation because it was years ago.
Okay.
He wouldn't ever spend more than $5.
Right.
He got go-karts for $5.
Wow.
And he would
Right.
fix them up, and now he spends 20.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's huge.
20 on something. And so his scooter,
Right.
he spent $20 on.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yes. And he's
so-
been fixing that up.
And he's got that fixed and it's working again. But even,
That's funny.
even
Yeah.
he has inflation.
He has two now, one with the basket and one without.
Right.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So when he has
That's
to
true.
carry stuff, he uses one, and when he doesn't, he uses the
When he
other.
travels between the different properties for
So
those
yes,
of you who don't know.
a very rich garage sale history here. at Gruber.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We have a head somewhere.
Oh, look at this. We have more comments. Highlander, please don't forget to mention Elvis. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Elvis has been a vital part of our team. You
The podcast.
Yes, in the podcast.
He's a great resource in parts and how things work. Elvis has taught me a lot.
Right.
Funny Gruber stories. He's my little brother
right,
Yeah.
right. Their relationship.
from another country. But we love Elvis.
Yeah,
He has a lot of, and he
he's
has a lot of
valuable-
energy. He has
Right.
a lot of
Yeah,
energy.
he's great.
Right. He's very
He's a-
good at
he's a
taking
very
care
good
of his
teammate.
customers and
Great with the customer.
Yes.
You know what? He takes care of his sales support too.
right.
He really, really
Right.
does. And that says a lot about who he is too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Highlander, I didn't, excuse me, I didn't recognize Mark without his glasses.
See?
Hence
See?
I'm not a robot,
Right.
right?
That's right. I'm not AI. I'm not a robot. I'm not. You can see my eyes are nice and white. I'm not taking anything.
I do recognize his voice though. P.S. Kindness is always free.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Highlander. Kindness is always free.
Highlander, open up that wallet, Pete. Let those moss out.
Yes.
You want to do the next one, Nicole?
Dinesh Bailu, it looks like again.
Oh yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
That's it.
Can we toggle a relay with a 10 hertz frequency for so long with a microcontroller? I've tried to do it, but it's making huge noise. So I'm freaking out and have not used it again.
I'm not sure
Elvis?
the answer to that one. Yeah.
Elvis.
That's something we'll have to come back to you on.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
research on that one and come
Yeah,
back.
absolutely. We can do research and come back to you. Anything like that that you want to bring out, bring to our attention, we'll
Now,
get back to you.
I'd also be interested if you can tell us, Dinesh, is your electricity at 50 hertz or at 60 hertz? In India, it may be different than
right,
us.
because
Here in the
what
United
they run
States,
at.
we're at 200, we're at 110 volts and 60 hertz, or
Right.
220 and 60 hertz. In Europe, I know that they're at 50 hertz and they're 230 volts.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
See?
we'll,
Good thing we have Mark.
Well,
timing is everything.
Yes.
I know enough to be dangerous. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so continuing our journey here. So, Mark, what is your role here?
So my role is to do whatever is needed for whoever needs it.
Right.
Officially, my title is Chief Financial Officer. I work in virtually all areas of all of the businesses, whether it's doing podcast, helping with human resources, IT, finance, sales, operations.
Teaching classes.
Training. Training.
Right.
I've done some of that as well. So it's an enjoyable role. It's a little overwhelming at times,
Right.
but it's
It
a lot of fun.
keeps your life interesting, for
Always,
sure.
always.
Always interesting. When you're speaking of role, one of the things that I learned coming in here very quickly is that no matter what role we have in leadership is our open door policy. And Mark is very good about that.
Yes.
And, when you talk about your role, is the fact that, you can approach Mark at any time, through the course of the day. And, hey, I've got this that's come up. What's going on with this? Or how do I do this? Or, in any approach. And it's a wonderful aspect about the company that, we all do. We have that open door policy. You come to us whenever, whatever's needed at any time.
Well, that's kind of my job, really. My job is to do whatever it takes to support you and help you do your job better.
Right.
That's
Right.
And whether that's getting things, whether that's helping with processes, whether it's training, no matter what.
Right. Which is wonderful. We like to highlight for sure. Okay, so what sets this company apart from other places you've worked?
For me personally, what sets this company apart
Right.
is that I have a better chance to make a positive difference in the lives of the people that I work with here than at any other company I've ever been at. I've been at small companies.
Right.
At one point in time, my wife was a receptionist, I was a computer programmer, and there was the owner.
Okay, so
It's
three
very,
man
very
shots.
small.
Right.
Small company.
Right.
I've worked at very large companies. I've worked at, one company, payroll and HR services company, and it was bigger than Ford Motor Company.
Oh, yeah.
So big companies. I've also worked at companies that are about this size.
Okay.
It's the company in South Central Phoenix that makes dental marketing products,
Okay.
and they're actually one of our customers.
Wonderful.
So, but at no company have I had the chance to work with people and have a chance to kind of make a positive impact on other people's lives the way I've had here.
And I think that's because we have that direct contact with all the different employees, with all of our
Right.
coworkers. We're able to have that immediate direct contact, with
Yeah.
everybody.
And in my position, I have the chance to interact with a lot of people too.
Oh,
Much
yeah.
more so than I've had in other companies.
Right. No, that absolutely makes sense.
And that even goes outside of Gruber stuff. Controversial probably. Mark fixed my Bible
Disclaimer.
that I had since I was 10 years old, and it had fallen apart, and we found out his son has a
Oh, yeah.
company.
Right.
So impacting outside of just work like that was significant for me because it's something I've had. It's one of the few things that I've had
Right.
since I was 10, which is basically my
Yeah.
whole life at this point.
Well, and
Right.
and
So-
that's one of the fun
right.
things I get to do is I get to help
Right.
my son with his business
Right.
now, and he runs his business out of my garage. So we're,
This is startup mode.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's family business. It's a lot of
That's
fun.
awesome.
But they did a fantastic job. So if anybody
Oh,
has
thank
a
you.
Bible that needs rebound, that
Now
you know where to go.
That's fun too. Yes.
That's awesome. So Mark, what has been one of your biggest challenges that you have overcame?
One of the biggest challenges I've had to overcome both here and one in my life was really growing into this role. It is such a wide role that I have. And even Pete will know. I remember interviewing with him in 2014. I came from a middle management role. I had several years of management experience. This was my first senior management role.
Okay.
And so it was, and I'm going to refer to my notes here just a little bit.
No, that's fine.
There was a lot to do. There was a lot to absorb, and there wasn't much time to absorb it.
Right.
And
Right.
so that became really challenging to to not have that imposter syndrome. Hey, do I really belong here? I've not really done this before. And just have that confidence that, you know what? I've got it.
Right.
Or if I don't have it now, I'm going to get it before anybody else.
Right. Right.
I learned years ago, I've done teaching and training on for different various topics for various people a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you, as a teacher, are 5 minutes ahead of your student, you're still a teacher.
That's fantastic.
I took that kind of approach into here. It's like, you know what? So what if I can't do it yet? I can figure it out. And I'm good at figuring out things.
Right.
Yes, you are.
So
Yeah.
that's been the biggest challenge that I've had here.
I think that's fantastic. And, it's such a good, valuable point as far as who we are within our roles and how we develop ourselves.
It was one of the cool things about the culture here when I came here.
Right.
That it doesn't matter if you're an individual contributor as employee, if you are a manager or a supervisor of a small team, middle manager or senior manager, we want you to feel empowered to expand whatever role that you're in and to do what it takes. And it's a challenge for managers. It's a challenge for the middle managers to watch their people race off and do things that they don't know how to do themselves.
Oh, right.
And it's even a bigger challenge as a senior manager to say, wow, I've got to keep up with all these people that are doing all these wonderful things.
Oh, that's a great thought. Yeah. I really like the way that you've identified that and communicated that, because that's absolutely so true. In fact, I think we have a couple of comments here. Tech Titan Troll, India is 50 hertz. Depends on the type of load and whether you're switching to AC or DC.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue that subject, but I like the next comment. Pete Gruber, well said, Mark. We are glad to have you. Absolutely. And I'll second that statement. That is
Love being here. Love being here.
To a degree. Okay, so what has been one of your biggest successes?
That was probably the hardest one for me to think of.
There's so many.
Well, I think the biggest success I had was fairly early on.
Okay.
When I got here, we had, I remember I took time to meet with all of my managers that were going to report to me within that first week or so. Right. And I had managers that did not know who each other were. They had not talked to each other in years.
Wow. Okay.
The only interactions they had would be negative interactions. Our departments tended to be very siloed and very antagonistic toward one another.
Right.
And the process that we went through to get the managers from being a bunch of individuals into being a management team laid a framework or laid a foundation for us that allowed these managers to put together the kind of family culture that it seems like you're hearing everybody talk about now.
I know, right.
And to me, I think that's probably my biggest success. I didn't set up the family culture. I don't work directly enough with the employees on a regular basis to do that.
Right.
I do work with the managers and give them the chance to be able to to be their best selves.
Right.
And so I count that as my biggest success. My second one, and I will mention it too, is a very, very background thing.
Okay.
I set up a new chart of accounts for us. And that's become our biggest success because our ability to get reporting, to do what we need to do on a daily basis has been influenced by that project that took place in 2014 and 2015 more than any other single thing that I've done from a programming standpoint.
Oh, absolutely.
So we did not have access as a company to the type of information that we just take for granted today. And that's all because of what I did on the setup when I first came here. It's one of my first projects here.
Okay. Now, was that in Telemagic that you're speaking of?
No, it's in our accounting system called SBT.
In the SBT system. Oh,
Yep.
Okay. Okay. That's fantastic. Well, those are, think just a few of the many achievements that you've had, because
Right.
I've seen lots of your successes
There's been a
as
lot
well.
of fun stuff come out of here.
Yeah, it's been
In
awesome.
the 3 years I've been here, I've seen a lot as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
well, thank you.
yeah. Along the
He's very
lines of
humble.
development and training, you
Yes.
know, with the employees,
Right.
you know, our sales team. Mark has contributed to providing them project management skills
Yes.
that they've taken with and been very successful
And
chartering
if they
to take
weren't
care of
all
our
trick
customers.
questions, I might have been the valedictorian, but I was not.
She tried.
I tried.
You know,
Hey, I
that-
come in second.
That project management training that I've done is one of the most fun things I've done here. And
Right.
that is top 5 on my success list
Yeah.
because I've
for
seen
sure.
the impact that that's had in the company as
Oh,
well.
And I
as
was
a
probably your
direct.
hardest student.
You got to stand out in a crowd.
Always. That's my biggest success.
What advice would you give to a new employee?
I think 3 things for
Okay.
a new employee coming in. First, work hard. We hold pretty
Yes.
high standards here.
Yes.
And
Right.
if you're not going to come to work every day and be willing to work and work hard, you're probably not going to be here very long.
Right.
Be persistent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Not only myself, most of the managers, I believe, are going to tell you if you find a way that you think is better, communicate that and never accept the we've always done it this way before, so you have to do it too.
Right.
And
Yes.
as management, I've seen our managers be very open to ideas of ways to improve things, to make things better, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So be persistent. If you, we also have Pete Gruber as our example of persistence. There's things that I would not have thought ever be possible,
Mm-hmm.
but Pete is a very persistent person.
Yes,
to
he
make
is.
it happen.
And as such, model that. He's a great model
Right.
for that. And if the employees will model that as well, they'll find that they can have a lot of success. Finally, we're a team. Every person coming in who would be new needs to know your team has got your back. That's
Right.
part of that close-knit culture that we've developed here.
Very much so.
And so those are the 3 pieces of advice I'd give.
That's fantastic. We're gonna save that material there.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I actually just had an interview right before we came to do the podcast. And that was one of the things that I emphasized on too. Like, we are a team, even throughout the different divisions of Gruber, we're still a team encompassing. We do things together as all the companies. We do things individually
whole.
as companies as well. But there are a lot of things that we do, all of us, and that's not normal. And,
Right.
and this individual even was like, wow, that's amazing, because I've never heard of companies doing that. And I always very much make sure that whomever it is that I'm interviewing understands that we are a team and you have to be a team player, because that's
Right.
what we mostly look for. You can't teach being a team player. So that's one of our
Right.
very, very main things that we look for.
Well, you know, it's
Yes.
funny. I have a story just the other day. I was working in our communications division, and we had a customer ask us about how many volts one of our category cable could have, or, you know, have handle or sustain in there. And so my first thing to go to was Steven.
Right.
It's my go-to.
Surprise.
You know?
Yes.
Well, when you're talking about electricity and volts and things like that, so, you know, I'm like, quick text message, Steven,
Right.
what is
Exactly.
the answer to this? And he's like, you know, give me 2 minutes. And he came right back to me and gave me a list of the voltages and the different category cables and things like that that they could carry. And it was so awesome. And then his follow-up response to that was, I need to learn more about that area so that I can be a better asset, just, you know, broader asset for the company
Oh,
and
that's
for
cool.
other employees.
Steven's
And-
great.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about along the lines of how we all work together and
Yeah.
helping each other out. Okay, so
And another example of
oh yeah,
knowing who to ask, knowing who to know,
Right.
knowing the right person.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know it, but I know who to ask.
exactly.
One of our other big major things that we emphasize around here.
Right, going to the right people. Okay, so what are you most excited about for the future of the company?
The one word answer to this is growth.
Right.
Right now, Gruber Power Services is a little bit more than twice the size of Gruber Communication Products.
Okay.
but the comm group is growing quickly. The market that the Gruber Communication Products sells to is 10 times the size of the power services market, and it's growing faster every year than the power services market is.
Right.
Right.
Right. So there's all that area. for
And so there's
expansion.
a huge area for growth there.
Right.
And then Gruber Motors, I have said this for years and I'll still say it. I believe that power services is going to grow, that Gruber Industries or communication products will grow to be bigger than power services, and that motors is going to grow to be bigger than the two of the other ones combined.
Right.
I would agree.
What's going on with
With the-
automobiles is nothing short of a revolution with the transition to electric and batteries.
Right.
Even the hybrids that are becoming really popular in the last
Oh, yeah.
6 months to a year, they have batteries. They need the battery work. And we've been doing battery work for years now.
Right.
And we're one of the few guys in town or in the nation that
Right.
can do everything that needs to be done.
In what we do.
So the chance to grow in that area with Gruber Motors is the sky's the limit, much more than the other two even, and the other two have really great growth prospects.
Well, we operate in industries that are exciting and have that opportunity for growth and sustainability going forward.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, we're not in positions where we have, where we're going to be stopped from, technologies going to go beyond what our capabilities are. No, our capabilities will be growing along with technology, so that way we can continue to move down those paths. So that is it. That's what's fun, and that's absolutely what keeps me like plugged in every day. Is that excitement.
there's a question here that I'd like to answer if I could.
Yeah,
It's
go
from
for it.
Tech Titan Troll.
Yes.
It says the problem with a lot of companies is it's not a two-way street. Is Gruber that two-way street company, or is it the typical company that preaches we're the top company, we're the best place to be, what's the data? That's a fair
fantastic.
question.
It is.
Absolutely.
Not everything is
question.
roses here. There are thorns as well. But at the same time,
Right.
I'm going to use our manufacturing team as an example.
Okay.
In 1995, 1996, we had a new person come to our manufacturing team. She was here from Vietnam. She got here the October, and it was like February, March the following year. This was her first job. Over time, she became the leader of our fiber optics team, and then has transitioned to where she's now the manager of our production team. And she's been here now, so it's 29 years coming up this year.
Right.
Many of the people on her team have been here for anywhere from 15 to 30 plus years.
Right.
That team is they're incredibly stable in what they've done as far as the employment, their employment time, and assembly work is not an easy job.
No.
Right.
The nature of the job is it's kind of boring. You're
Very.
building
Right.
the same thing over and
couldn't do
over
it.
and over
testing,
again.
testing. Yes.
Yeah. They've got a great work ethic. They've got a great community themselves. Virtually the entire team is Vietnamese. And we try to do a lot to help make sure that they feel that they're a part of the rest of the company and that we are part of them.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's very important. So I see that as kind of where the two-way street question is at. Yes, that not everyone works out here.
Right.
Not everybody's going to give us the 5-star review on Glassdoor or salary.com.
Right.
But I do know that we are certainly trying to create an environment where people have a chance to succeed. And if they're willing to work hard, that they do so. I also think that you could go to any one of our 140 plus employees and say, what do you say? And you're going to hear either that or something very similar to that from virtually every employee.
Right.
As we've learned on our previous shows, a lot of people had the same
Absolutely.
thing to say. We
Yes.
didn't expect it to turn out that way, but a lot of people basically had the same visions and the same ideas and the same experience. And as the new guy at the table, I can tell you, I've worked at lots of places, big companies, small companies.
Right.
I worked for my family for many years. Gruber is one of the places that you are heard. You do have a voice. And when I came here, I have an interesting story. I was offered a job many years ago and didn't do it. But when I finally did decide to pull the plug and, okay, maybe this is where I'm supposed to be, I had a hard time adjusting because of where I came from, because I have kids. I used to being able to, work half from home and half from the office. And I had a lot of adjusting to do. But I will tell you that I always felt comfortable. I never felt like I was letting anybody down, even though I internally felt like it. But Janie was very comforting and, hey, you know what? I'm a mom. I get it. It's an adjustment period.
Right.
Let's do things to make this easier for you. Let's, encourage you to decorate your desk, bring your kids with you. I mean, just pictures, but at least have them with you. And and just being able to, the fact that I feel like a lot of our management team does that. They go out of their way to make sure that you're comfortable, help solve your problems that you have, whether it's you miss your kids, you're not used to sitting at a desk all day, or something bigger like, hey, I don't understand this. Can we do it this way? Can we change this or whatever? That is one of the things that management has always been, since I've been here, I've seen a lot of changes be made. There's been many changes made in the 3 years I've been here. And I think that says a lot about management listening to the employees and what we want and what we think, because that makes it easier for us and makes it better for the customers, and it makes it easier for management, because if you can find something that's going to help everybody, why not? And a lot of companies won't even listen to you. So.
Well, we talked about this a bit in our previous podcasts, as we've talked internally to the different parts of our, different people on the teams and things like that. And we've mentioned a part of that we've been going through a culture shift.
Very much so.
And the next guests we're bringing here is a big part of that culture shift and
yes.
driving what we're doing and how we have, and the reason that we have employees that are thinking the way that they do, and, having the feelings that they have and the perception and, that they do. And it's all based on, what they've
seen.
Yeah, there
what
you
they've
go.
Experienced.
Yeah, exactly.
From the very beginning, when you see people saying, hey, I have an idea, or we used to do this, but then we figured out it was easier to do it this way.
It's been a culture shift,
right?
Though.
It's been huge. And the fact that the employees feel comfortable,
right,
to
there you go.
bring up those subjects and to have those conversations. And sometimes it's, hey, I have an idea, and okay, that's not going to work, but let's work together to find something in between.
Right.
A lot of times it's
absolutely, absolutely. So anything more you'd like to add to today? I think everything that you provided is just fantastic.
Well,
I
thank you.
love having your insight, your history. There's things that I've just learned that I didn't know before, and so those are, it's good to have, having that additional knowledge and time.
I don't have anything else for today, but thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you for
Well,
joining
thank you
us.
for joining us.
It's been
I've
fun.
always been-
enjoyed it very much.
We
Nice
have a
talking to you.
couple. Do you want to go out on a couple notes here?
Sure.
You said that name, I think, better than I did.
better than anybody.
Dinesh
Nice
Bailu,
bite.
I think
There you
is
go.
who it is. And he says, small companies are a great source to learn more things.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Yep. And then Highlander. It's commercial time, folks. Hit that like button, folks. There you go. Thumbs up.
Now, what is he referring to for commercial for you guys? Do you know?
We don't know because
We don't know.
we're still in it.
We didn't know.
I made them
This is
stand
with
up pretty.
Gruber-
There you go.
This is
Okay.
with Gruber Motors. You see what I do
no
when
idea.
I'm on a Gruber Motors podcast.
And the Gruber Motors
okay.
podcast is when?
Those are on Tuesdays.
Oh, there we go.
And now, see, all of a sudden, Highlander can recognize
Now
me
he knows
now.
who you are.
Yeah.
It's going to be for sunglass cases.
Okay.
They're full grain leather. They don't scratch your lenses, even these softer plastic lenses. They work great. And they're family built. My son's business makes these.
Okay.
And so I'm sure that's what the commercial is for.
That makes sense.
And they're on the Gruber Motors site. And I think if you press code Aaron, did we ever get a code Cass?
Still working on
Cass?
Cass, yeah.
Still working on Cass.
We don't need one for her.
You get 10% off on the sunglass case for anything code Aaron.
Now
And
that's under
Aaron's
the
gonna
shop
make up the
tab on the
It's in the shop tab in Gruber
Okay.
Motors. So that's what when he says commercial
Commercial.
time, they want
Thanks,
you to
Highlander.
they want you to put up one of these.
Now we know.
Now we know. Now,
We'll bring
whole
one
grain
in for our
letters.
next show.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll continue.
We've learned all kinds of stuff today.
So,
right?
Well, thank you guys again.
All right.
I know that Claude is already here. So
Yeah, we're going to be
We'll-
bringing them in. All right.
Well,
Well,
I'm gonna
we
move my chair,
appreciate
too.
and enjoyed
Better
having
over
you on
this
the
way.
show. Thank you,
and that
Mark.
way. You bet.
Well, I
Thanks.
was running into Mark too, so I was like,
All
I'll
right.
just move on over.
So, okay, so our next guest has done many podcasts.
Yeah.
Is an experienced podcaster. But I don't think we've had him on this type of forum.
No.
No, so that's why I was excited to bring him in today. So come on in, Claude. This is Claude Dixon. We've spoken to him about him many times.
We've spoken about him a lot in the last few
right.
weeks.
And the reason is because he's steering this ship, leading this team, and guiding everybody throughout the course of our days, our weeks, our years as we're doing things. So I thank you for joining us, Claude.
He's the change.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this is fun. So let's dive right into it. Claude, the number of years you've worked here at Gruber Power Services, I know you've got quite the history.
Yeah, it's been 15 years. Been in leadership 38 years. So this is the, I've only worked for 2 other companies. They were multi-billion-dollar companies. So this is a small company compared to that. But
Right.
I've been here the longest.
Those were corporations.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. I know I've been here longer than I've been at any other company as well. Yeah. Nicole's working on
I'm
it.
still the newbie.
Yeah.
She's working her way there.
I'm trying.
So we've given bits and pieces about your role here, but tell us in your words, what is your role here?
Okay. Well, my title is Chief Operations Officer, but from my viewpoint, that's nothing but a title because in reality, that's not what I do. In this organization, I've been a preacher. I've been a mentor.
Yes.
I've been, a people developer. I've been multiple things, a counselor, a psychologist, a coach, which I believe, I think I miss my calling because I love coaching. And when people think of coaching, they think of sports, of which I've been heavily involved with. But coaching, you can coach anywhere. You can coach in any organization. It doesn't matter what it is, wine, snack, food, electronics. It doesn't matter. You know why? The common denominator is people. Okay. And that's a big thing with me, is the whole people aspect of what we do here, because I have found that if people are engaged, motivated, and understand what the vision and mission is, you're going to have some success. It might not happen right away, but over time, if you stick to it, you'll have some success. So I'm not the traditional COO. In fact, my daily walk
No, you're not.
has nothing to do with that. A COO is constantly on strategy, productivity, efficiency. I do those things, but not on a wide scale macro, type scenario like the COO would do in a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right.
Okay. So I'm more on the ground.
Well, I'm glad you highlighted the coach aspect of it because that's something that, that I see. And, you mentioned that you think you miss your calling, but you hit your calling right on the head.
Yeah.
Like you hit that nail on the head with it.
Yeah.
Because in your role, being that coach is absolutely what the team needs so that everybody's driven or going the same direction, and they're going the same route, and we have successes in taking care of our customers that way. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, one thing I want to clarify when I say coaching, it's a broad category.
Sure.
And when I'm talking about coaching, I'm not talking about cheerleaders. There's a distinct difference between what a cheerleader's role is and what a coach's role is. Cheerleader is on the sideline cheering the team on, but they're not doing those workouts in practice. They're not running those wind sprints in 110 degree heat. You know what I mean? They're inside cooling off, drinking water. where the coach is still out there with the players in the trenches, teaching them, how to execute and what the game plan is. So there's a huge difference. I often hear people in management refer to, well, you know what, you just be a cheerleader. Well, you know
No,
what?
that doesn't
I've
work.
never ever been a cheerleader. I've dated cheerleaders, but I've never ever been one.
And I'll have to tell you, as a former cheerleader, we did all those workouts too. We weren't always inside either.
So I'm excited about, before I get to the next question, what sets this company apart from other places you've worked? I think you've kind of mentioned it a little
Well,
bit.
this company is decentralized.
Okay.
Where in multi-billion dollar corporations, you have a hierarchy. And, like I said earlier, I've worked in a few of those. I've had, high level positions in those. And you never really get to understand at that level what the true pulse is of the organization. So what makes this company different for me is it's decentralized and you can actually touch the people. And what I mean by touching the people is dialoguing with the people, understanding what their concerns are, telling them what they don't want to hear.
Right.
Most leaders, in my experience, tell employees what they think they want to hear. I'm the complete opposite of that. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear because the objective is to improve the organization. And if you're not telling people the truth, if you're not being straightforward with people, then you're simply just not going to get there. You'll be mediocre.
Well, you're challenging them.
Right.
Yes.
You're challenging them to rise to another occasion, to bring something forward that they weren't already bringing, but you see it within them.
Yeah.
In reality, that improves the person as well if they listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not something that you do right away. I call it ground softening. You have to soften the ground with people. You can't just come out and just explode into them.
Right.
You have to explain things, and this is why we're doing this, and soften the ground along the way, and then get to the nitty gritty. This could be 5, 6, 7 months down the line when you finally get to the nitty gritty, but it's a continuum that you're looking at. You're looking for success over time, and when you get that success, you want the success to stay in place. You don't want it to be a one-hit wonder, so to speak, because we did it all, but there was nothing, no infrastructure
Well, they
set
didn't
up.
learn anything from it. If you're not doing it in that way, or maybe you function one day doing it in a certain set way, but then people will fall back into old ways and old habits, and you're not actually learning from it. So that absolutely makes sense for sure. We've got this board going here. Highlander. Hi, Claude. It's a Highlander. Glad to see you again.
Peace, Highlander, peace.
He misses you.
Right. For sure. Tech Titan Troll, how do each of you motivate internally?
I can answer that question.
Okay.
You motivate by example. So if you don't have no energy, then you can't expect your team to have any energy. All right. If you're not hustling, then you can't expect your employees to hustle. If you're not a problem solver or jump on things when it happens and resolve it for them, you can't expect your employees to do it or your team to do it because they're looking at you. You're the leader.
Right.
So another scenario, something goes wrong. And an example, a picture perfect example is what happened yesterday. We've almost gone 4 years without an injury, right? We had our first injury in 4 years yesterday. So we were counting the number of days where we went from 1,434 down to 1. Now, you can look, you can put the sad face and look at that, oh my God, or you can just say, hey, you know what, team, that was a great run.
Look what we
that
accomplished.
was an excellent run. You guys accomplished this over time. You proved a lot. Our EMR rate is below 0. Or you can take the other approach and just sulk and say, oh my God, we have to start over again. I can tell you right now, I've never been about that. You just have to get back up and put one foot in front of the other, just like you did you did to get the 1,400. Yeah, it's hard work, but that's what it's all about. You never have real success without hard work.
Right. And you're looking at it for the long term.
But to answer that question is really leadership by example and getting involved with your people, being involved with your people, talking to them, letting them know too that you're human. I think that's another thing that separates. And I really don't even like to use management and employees in my terminology. For me, it's coaches and players, okay? Is because the coach isn't accessible or they don't know, the emotions. I tell employees all the time, I go, look, I'm a human being. So
Right.
I'm not going to be the happy-go-lucky fake person every single day because
gonna have your real
that's not
days.
who I am. I have my days too. I have blood that runs
all
through
do.
my veins. I have emotions. I have the things in my life. I try to prevent those things from coming into work, and I'm pretty good at that 99% of the time. But there is the 1% of the time where I need to be human too, and I ask for their grace. I'll say, "Can you, can you show me some grace too for just this 1%
Right.
of the time
Right.
that I was human?" That
Absolutely.
kind of thing. And I think
Absolutely.
those kind of things over time engage people and motivate them because they recognize too that you're a human being too.
Right, absolutely. You know, I can say on the question, how do each of you motivate internally as well? And going off of what you said, my motivation comes from seeing the successes from the people that
Right.
we're coaching and contributing to, you know, the players out there. You know, watching them succeed,
Right.
that's what gets me excited about coming to work every day. Absolutely.
Right.
That's a big part of it, you know, like the fact that you can impact somebody in the way that we're able to
Right.
is awesome.
I think a lot of it is just being real. And that kind of goes to a lot of what you're saying too. Just being real with your employees, listening to them and valuing their opinions and what they do.
Right.
And we like to do, because of what I do is so different from what you guys do or my employees, they make a lot of phone calls, reach out to customers and try to rebuild those relationships. So we do a lot of games and have we have a button that says that was easy that they get to push, and they really get excited just getting to push that button and get, everybody stands up and gives them applause. And so it's the little things that make them feel important and feel like that they're contributing. And the fact that they can come to you and just be, and you can be raw and honest with them. I think that's like the biggest motivation to doing your job and wanting to stay here and be a part of this team.
Right.
Is because you can be yourself.
Right.
Oh,
You know, that's a great point. You know, I think back over the last 4 years, and I can kind of remember, I remember the state of the organization 4 years ago, and I'm just talking specifically GPS. And I remember looking at the faces of the people, and I could tell that most of those people did not believe that they add value. Okay. Because we would focus so much on account management. Who are the people selling? Who are the people bringing in the profit? Okay, that pays the bills for the company, et cetera, et cetera. And that right there was a huge red flag for me.
Right.
You know, every pocket of the organization adds value. Every person in the organization adds value.
Absolutely.
The custodian adds value.
Yeah.
Trust me, there would be people in an uproar if we came in the morning and the toilets hadn't been cleaned in 5 days. Do not think for 1 second that does not affect a person's psychological state of mind and how they go about their business during the day. So, like I said earlier, one of my roles here, I really feel like in some cases I'm a psychologist because I look at things like that. I'm trying to do everything possible to keep people when they come in here on an even kill psychologically. Because if you are, more than likely you're going to perform when you're here.
Right.
And when I say perform, I mean perform at a higher level than just the mediocre person would.
I mean, and one thing, and it's going to sound so trivial and silly probably, but we have music throughout all of our buildings. And when I first started, it was this lovely classical elevator music, and it was phenomenal, fantastic. But also we needed something a little more upbeat. And so finally somebody, and it wasn't me, went to management and said, can we please have something just a little bit more
I got a story about that.
upbeat?" Okay. And they changed the music for us. And this morning he was blaring some rap music on accident, and it was awesome. It was the Michael Jackson left foot up something slide something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was hilarious. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's one little, and it seems like such a little thing, but it made such a huge difference
To the energy and
in the building.
Right.
It has. It really has. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's keep going to these comments here. Chat with Cheryl. Hey, bro, I love what you said about coaching and your COO role. Cheerleaders have their place, but they are not coaches. And yes, and amen to telling people the truth. Absolutely. Yeah. And same chat with Cheryl. So funny how men say different say things differently than women. However, I prefer the direct approach, LOL. And Tech Titan Troll, that's old school. Old school is the right type of school.
We're very
absolutely.
We are very old school around here.
Right.
Pete said rap. When did this occur? It was for like
He missed it.
no, he did it. He turned around and was like, sorry guys. It was awesome though. I was actually speaking to an account manager about one of his support that I oversee, and that's when it happened, and we just stopped our conversation and just cracked up because it was just awesome.
Well, not to go on too much of a left field here, but the whole music thing.
Right.
So I've been working here 10 years now. And when I first started working here, I was sitting at my desk. It was before we had the whole team environment and the culture shift and all of that. And I was sitting at my desk by myself at my computer, making my prospecting calls, you know, going through the database. And I have this music playing. And, you know, it's the orchestra, no words kind of music, you know, and it was very like, it didn't keep you excited and energized. So, but, you know, that's what was played. So that's what, you know, we went along with for years. Well, it was several years ago. I went over to our new Gruber Motor Company building. And one morning I was listening to the music over there and I'm like, this is fantastic. If we had this music playing in GPS, the motivation and the energy that would bring to the team. Right. So I look over to our IT person, Nick, and I said, can we get that over there? And he's like, well, you've got to go talk to Pete. And so I'm like, okay. So I go to Pete and I said, hey, can we get that music over there? Oh, yeah, no problem. Go and turn on. And I said, all these years?
Yeah.
So it was just amazing. To your point, you know, to our points that we were just going along with it, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what's interesting too, and again, like I said, you know, sometimes in my role I'm a preacher, and this just came to me, but I've used it in a couple of our meetings. You know, without a vision, the people perish. That's biblical. And you know, when you talk about energy, I brought in the fact that we all come here, we all come to work. We'll just say 40 hours a week, 2,080 hours a year, okay?
Right.
We spend more time here at work than we do with our own families at home, okay? So, and let's face it, some of the jobs we have here, they're mundane, unless you're motivated by some other way or connected to something.
Right.
I'm more of a connection person, and it gets back to what I said with the vision thing. If there's not a mission, if there's not something that people connect to, then you're not going to go anywhere. So one thing that I try to do is at a COO level is each year is I try to give the team a mission, because if they know where we're going and how we're going to get there, yeah, it's going to be hard work to get there. They're probably going to stay connected to that mission the entire year. Okay.
Right.
That's what I have found since we've been doing this. You know, I get questions on how are we doing? How are we doing? I mean, 4 years ago, I wasn't getting those questions.
No, no. They, you know, it was a matter of people just keeping with status quo, doing what was asked of them and managing themselves that way. But providing them with the mission and the vision, they go, now, wait a minute, are we rising above? Are we there yet? Are we getting there yet? And so then you find yourself just automatically driving and pushing to go further.
Right.
Yeah.
It keeps you on the same page too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what has been one of your biggest challenges that you have overcame here?
Overcame here?
Or just overcame. Yeah,
just globally, because there really hasn't been. When I think of GPS and Gruber, there really hasn't been like a challenge.
Okay.
Okay, but I have had like a challenge. And it's one that I'll never ever forget. And it was I was working running a winery in California. First day on the job, let me back up a little bit. I was an operations analyst the first 3 years with this wine company. It was called Constellation Brands. At the time, $10 billion company. I was responsible for the books for five wineries. I got promoted to winery manager, moved from Madera, California to Monterey, California. They told me up front, hey, Claude, here's the winery we're going to give you. But guess what you're going to have to do your first day? And I go, what is that? You're going to have to lay off 40 people.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So
Okay.
this particular winery was a rebuild type scenario. It wasn't performing well, and we're going to put you down there to see if you can revive it, but you're going to have to let 40 people go because,
Okay.
or else we're going to have to shut it down. Okay. So the
Right.
first day on the job, I got down there. I could have done it other ways. I could have done it through my management. These are your employees. These are your employees. Tell them that they're laid off. But I wanted to do it myself. And I'll tell you why in a second, why I wanted to do it myself. So
Yeah.
I met over 2 days, I met with each employee individually and went through that whole painful process of having to let them go. Some of these people had been with that winery for 20, 25 years. Okay.
Wow.
But I wanted to experience that pain because I knew that there were still going to be 120 employees left that I would have to go talk to. Okay, and re-energize and get them back on board, that kind of thing. So if
Right.
I would have did that through my management,
You wouldn't have had that
I wouldn't have seen their facial expressions. I wouldn't have seen anybody cry. I wouldn't have seen anybody jump up out of their chair upset and storm out of the office. Okay, 40 people over 2 days. That's the biggest
Wow.
challenge. It still
Absolutely.
sticks with me today. I still think about that today, and it really has modified my style because I told myself this is never ever going to happen again as long as I'm
That's
in
it.
leadership.
Right.
I'm not going to go through
That's
this
the
ever
key.
again.
Exactly.
But the pain part of it gave me the energy to go talk to the other people. It took like 7 years or not 7 years, I'm sorry, 7 months
Right.
for those people to even begin the trust management again. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that would be
I couldn't do it from my office. I had to go talk to them. I had to do one-on-one meetings. I had to meet with them every week. And eventually they came around, but the mission was, let's not ever let this happen again.
Right.
How do we prevent this from happening again? What caused it? Why did it happen? Why do we have to lay off, whatever percent of our workforce? Why?
Right.
But it took 7 months to get them, similar to kind of like what we did here, just not as severe. The ground softening,
Right.
So that was by far my
Right.
biggest challenge ever in my
Right.
professional life.
Yeah, changing the whole outlook, employee morale,
Yeah.
and getting them in
Yeah.
a whole different path.
Yeah.
Setting
Then you
them
have
up for success.
and then
Yeah.
you have, it's the collateral damage too. Not
Right.
only the attitude of the people that decided to stay, but there were people that left, that we didn't lay off,
Sure.
that, I don't have confidence. They're going to close the door. So they leave and they go somewhere else.
Had the fallout.
So you lose all that intellectual capital. So there was a lot of rebuilding. And, when you walk into an organization that's already running well, you don't learn as much.
Right.
But when you
Right.
walk into a rebuild situation, you learn a ton. That's one of the reasons, if you want to see me get frustrated over something, it's when I know something can be fixed, but yet
Yeah.
it doesn't get fixed. You know what I mean? It can be
Right.
fixed if you take step 1, 2, and 3, but it doesn't get fixed because the
Right.
collaborators haven't gone through that pain. They don't have those nuances. They don't understand the nuances and the skills
Right.
required to make that happen with the people. I'm talking
right.
people. I'm not talking about
No, this
processes
is
and
right,
machines
right.
that you would bring in for efficiency. I'm just
No.
talking the human condition.
Right. No, that absolutely
Which is
makes
much more
sense.
challenging.
Yeah.
Well, that's something, all of us being in a leadership role, that's a big part of our daily lives is, working with, everybody and helping to guide everybody and go forward in a positive, growing manner,
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I like that. That's an awesome story. Thank you.
Yes.
What has been one of your biggest successes?
Again, it's off grid.
Okay, that's okay. I like this.
We've had a lot of successes here.
Right.
In the last 4 years. And again, I'm just talking GPS, a tremendous amount of success. And I think that in a way, people don't really understand the amount of success that we've had and our ability to flip a switch and turn things around. Okay.
Right.
Pretty quickly. Okay. And sustain it, not just turn it around, but sustain it month after month after month
Right.
after month after month. That's hard work to do. That's
Right.
not easy to do. So that's like a huge part of it. But to answer your question, developing people, coaching, to me, Coaching kids, let me be specific.
Okay.
Those of you who don't know, I'm a former youth football coach, coached youth football for 10 years, 3 different age groups, and that was just a remarkable experience watching kids grow, watching the faith that kids put in adults because they don't have the world in them yet. And,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you can train them, you can nurture them, you
Mold
can
them.
and they'll remember you if you put they'll remember you anyway if you put the bad things in them or if you put the good things in them. But if you're putting the good things in them, they'll talk about you for decades after that experience. I still do
Right.
it with my coaches, and I'm 61 years old. I
Right.
still talk about my mentors. Okay, my
Right.
coaches, even today with employees around here. Yeah, I had a coach that told me this, that mentored me this way, that guided me this way. So that by far, in my opinion, developing people, both in business and outside in my personal life, is my biggest success.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can certainly understand that. Absolutely. Absolutely. What advice would you give to a new employee?
Well, I'm old school.
Right.
So,
Yes.
number one, I'm going to say, you're not going to do anything or get anywhere if you don't stick to it.
Right.
Okay. Number one, you got to stick to things. You can't throw in the towel after 3 months because it isn't working out the way you thought it would work out. My dad told me, you're not quitting. No, you're going to stick this thing out. All right. And learn from it. Stick it out. Stick it out because you never know. There might be a coaching change. There might be this happen and the whole thing flips 3 months after that. And here you are, you're happy again. No, you stick it out. And number two, if you don't know who your resources are, you're not going to succeed. Notice what I said, knowing who your resources are. I did not say you have to know everything, because anyone that tells you they know everything, they're actually really dumb, because
Right.
none of us will ever know everything. But you know
Right.
what I'm talking about. I mean, even in the
Absolutely.
realm you're working in, I can tell you right now, I don't know everything, but I'll tell you something I do know.
Absolutely.
I know who the heck my resources are, and I know how to utilize them. So stick to it and know who your resources are and how to utilize them.
Absolutely.
And he does preach that, and that is one of the things that we have brought up
Yeah.
several weeks in a row is just knowing who to ask,
Yeah.
know who to go to.
Yeah, if you want to get a head shake out of me, and they've seen it in meetings where I'm like, oh my God, it's like, you don't know, you didn't know this and how long you've been here? You've been here 10 years and you didn't know that this person did this?
Right.
Right.
Okay, that kind
Right.
of thing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Those are head shakers. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. It's about who to go to take care of the customer in an effective, efficient manner.
I kind of wish I had hair like you guys. That way, when I do the head shaking, something
You
moves.
can do the toss, too.
Nothing moves up here when I do it.
Mine's extra bouncy today. We'll have to get you a wig next
Yeah.
time.
I know.
For sure.
Blonde or brunette?
Brunette.
Oh,
Okay, so what are you most excited about for the future of the company? This is a fun question.
Well, growth.
Yes.
Definitely growth. And the reason why is because, and I'm talking growth obviously in our revenues, but also,
right.
growth in our people.
right.
Bingo.
Because you're
Yes.
not going to get those revenues if
Without
you
the people.
don't grow your people.
Right.
It's that simple. And I'm not talking about bringing in an army of people to grow. I'm talking about bringing in the right people.
Exactly.
Okay, the right people. And here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys an analogy. I like plants.
Yes, he does.
Okay, I like plants. And you know what? I've gotten more fruit from pruning than I have bringing in new plants. Much more fruit from just
Right.
pruning. Oh, you need a little bit of fertilizer. It gets back to the psychological thing. Oh,
Right.
this person needs this target to reach that goal. Okay. Next thing you know, you've got flowers blooming everywhere on the same plant. Now, I'm not saying that you don't add to your organization. You don't add new plants. You absolutely do. But
Right.
you meter them in. Because the
Right.
last thing you want to happen is that you, me, Nicole,
Right.
or watered down. What happens to plants when you water them down? Some plants.
They die.
They die.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're not getting enough what? attention. Okay.
Right.
It's that simple. So
Right.
I'm not saying you don't grow with people. You absolutely grow with people, but you have to be strategic on how you grow with those people.
Well, it's the right people. You
Yeah.
know, and to touch upon your point and what you were just saying, the whole thing that I visualized as you're talking is we want to grow in the path that we set ourselves up to grow in is to grow with people that want to set themselves up with a career.
Right.
You know, not
Yeah.
flooding the gates with hundreds of people we could bring in and sit at desks and give computers to and give phones to, and they can all do the job, but they'll last here maybe a month, 3 months, 6 months. Maybe we'll get a year
Because
out
we're
of
not
them.
looking for professional paperwork processors. Because
Right.
because that's what we become. Because the turnover rate is so high that
Right.
all the leadership is doing, all the coaches are doing is just processing paperwork.
Right.
Right,
Turning
behind
it
those
into
people.
And
HR,
people in and out, in and out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we were doing 4 years ago.
Where we were
and,
at.
And we were ineffective.
And so we've changed our path.
Yes.
And we are now driven, and we've brought in some absolutely
We have.
successful, talented, wonderful new additions to our sales
Yeah.
teams.
Yes.
Wonderful new additions internally to our support teams. And we found ourselves, and that just sets us up to take care of our customers for the long term in the right way.
Right.
Because we're not, how do we do this? Trying to figure out something for the first time over and over again for the first time.
Right. And it shows up in,
Yeah.
when you get people that are committed, when most of them are committed, it shows up in your turnover rate.
Right.
Our turnover rate is completely nosedived. Now, I don't know
Absolutely.
what the percentage was 4 years ago. I know it was high because I spent a lot of time doing this.
Right. Who's coming and going?
People coming and going, but it's come to a screeching halt, and we're picking and choosing now. The people we have, to your point, they're excellent. They just need to be groomed. They need to be developed. They need time spent with them. They need to be encouraged. That they
Right.
can do it. They can make it happen.
Right. Well,
If you're looking for a job, this is not the place for you.
Right.
That's what I tell them. If you're looking for a job, this
Yeah.
isn't where you need to be. If you want a career and a good path for your life, then absolutely. And you want to, this is our vision. If this is something you agree with and you think you can be a part of, then absolutely, this is the place for you.
Yeah.
But not if you're just looking for a job.
Yeah.
Well, what was amazing is that we all came together and we collaborated. You started with your softening of the ground and saying, okay, this is how we're going to set ourselves up. And this is how we're going to steer our path to success. And the results are showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
In our turnover rates, in our revenue numbers. So, the sky's the limit. It's exciting. I'm
Right.
looking forward to where, how far we can go.
Yeah, but our people made it happen.
Right.
We have the same.
Absolutely.
We have the same thing going on. Same equipment, same machines. What changed was the psychology and mentality of the people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%.
So that was a lot, It's exciting. It's an exciting topic. I love it. I enjoy talking about it. So, anyways, anything further you'd like to add? I appreciate, again, you coming on the show
no
today
problem.
and
I'm
bringing
not
this
a-
perspective and this part, how we're going. And
I think I stole his chair though.
Yeah.
Sorry, Claude.
No, I don't have
He didn't
anything else.
complain.
I'm not a man of that many words, unless you get me going. Unless
Right, right.
Unless I have a beer or two.
I was like, wait, what? Are we talking
We're
about
bringing
the same
shots next
podcast?
time. All right. Anyway, so well, with that, we'll end this out, and everybody look forward to our future podcasts that we've got coming up. We've got an exciting lineup that we're working on, bringing in topics that are going to be specific based on successes and where we can go with taking care of our customers and bringing the individuals in who are very skilled in those ways to take care of our customers.
It could be your go-to if you need somebody.
Whether it's based on vertical markets, the different industries that we work within, or the different services that we provide.
Exactly.
We have talented people, and bringing them on to expand upon their experiences that way it'll be fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything more you'd like to add, Nicole?
No, this was a very interesting show. I learned a lot. I'm still processing a lot of this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that I'm excited for where we're headed with this. I'm excited for the big 40th anniversary.
Yes, that's going to be fun.
And I just look forward to seeing where we go with this and learning more. Even I don't know a whole, I mean, I've been here 3 years, but there's even still a lot of stuff I don't know. And I learn stuff every day. Every day. It's not necessarily, and this is a term we don't use around here, but it doesn't relate to my job per se, but it relates to how I can help other people with their job. So I'm constantly learning stuff as well, that things that I never even thought that even exist, like things you would never even think about. And Elvis Highlander is a big part of that.
Right.
Justin's a great teacher. Charles.
Oh, right.
Darren's good when he's here, and he spends a lot of time with the customers. So, but his knowledge is amazing. Steven has been great. You know, we have a lot of teachers, and that speaks a lot to the management too. The fact that we have so many teachers within our organization that take the time out to help.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful
Have a great weekend.
day, week, night, weekend. Oh, yeah.
It's Friday.
I'm ready for Monday.
No Mondays.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.